Let's look at a couple of examples. So the first example we're going to look at, we don't have any parentheses, so all I need to do first is see if I have any of the same bases, and I don't. I have a 3, an x, and a y, so there's nothing there that I can simplify first. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my fraction bar, and notice this is 3 to the negative 2 power. You cannot simplify this until you get rid of the negative exponent. So the first thing I'm going to do, the x is going to stay where it is, the y is going to stay where it is. That's supposed to be a 5. And the 3 to the negative 2 power is going to move down so that that negative 2 becomes positive. That's just step 1. Now that you've done this, you can simplify the 3 squared. So sometimes I see an answer as a negative 9, and there should be no negative. Basically, the negative exponent becomes positive by moving it, and now we'll just say 3 squared is 9, and that's our answer. Again, that's supposed to be a 5. Okay, the next one, again, I'm going to do my division. So when you divide, everything comes in the numerator. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, because that's not a fraction that can, it's not like 1 or 2/4 that reduce to 1/2. 4 divided by 2 is just 2. And then remember, when you divide, you subtract your exponent. So if it helps you, you could remind yourself that all these that don't have an exponent written are 1. So you could put those in there if that helps you. And then I'm going to go ahead and subtract. So x, what do I have? 2 minus 1 is just 1, so we don't need to write that. For y, I have 1 minus 5, which is negative 4. And for z, I have 3 minus 2, which is just 1. Okay. Once you've done that, then you can see what needs to move. I have one negative exponent, that's that negative 4, so the 2x and z stay where they are, and only the y needs to move, and that negative 4 becomes positive. Okay, for the next one, this is basically like the number 1/5, and I can't simplify that anymore, so the 5 needs to stay in the denominator, and you can put a 1 up here if you want, but I'm not going to need it right now because I'm going to subtract. Again, remember these are all exponents of 1, so 1 minus 2 is negative 1, and when you're dividing and you subtract, your answer always goes in the numerator, unless you're just canceling, which we're not doing, we're doing the subtraction. Here I have 1 minus 3 is negative 2. And then here, c divided by c, those just cancel. c divided by c is just 1, so that goes away. Okay, the last step, the a and the b are negative, so they need to move down to the denominator. So a to the first, I don't need to write that 1, and then the b, becomes a positive 2. And then there's not 0 in the numerator. Remember, there was a 1 here. We just didn't write it. So there is a 1 in the numerator. So you can't just drop the numerator. All right, the next example, first thing I'm going to do is deal with this negative exponent. And so that's 2 to the negative 3. Remember, you can't solve that till you get rid of the negative exponent. So I'm going to move the 2 to the numerator. That's a 3. Okay. And then for the x's, I am going to subtract, and remember that goes in the numerator. 5 minus 1 is 4, and then the y stays where it is. I'm not combining it with anything. It doesn't have a negative exponent. Okay, now we're just going to simplify. 2 cubed is 8, x to the 4th over y, and that's as simplified as it can get. All right, the last example, we have a negative power, which means I have to distribute to everything. And again, I'm going to write a 1 here to remind you that 2 is to the first power, x is to the first power, because there's no power written. And when we raise something to a power, we multiply. So this is going to become 1 times negative 2 is negative 2, x to the negative 2, because 1 times negative 2 is also, again, negative 2. Y, negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. So that's the numerator. In the denominator, I have 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6. So that's the first step, distribute that power. Once you've distributed it, remember, we're not going to solve anything until I get rid of these negative exponents. So the y is going to stay where it is. It's the only positive exponent. And then two things need to happen. First, the 2 and the x need to move down so that their exponents become positive. And the z needs to move up so that its negative 6 becomes positive. Okay, and then the very last step is that I need to simplify 2 squared to 4. And that's it.